Bob, you are from the Mayo Clinic. Can you tell me what you are doing at your clinic?
Well, the Mayo Clinic is a large clinical practice for medicine. We have several million patients that we've seen over many years, and a great deal of work goes on not only in clinical treatment, but also in medical research and medical education.
And your clinic is one of the first user of the XMT system from Cray, similar to CSCS in Switzerland. For what purpose are you using the XMT?
Well, we're going to try to tackle a couple of different kinds of biomedical and bioinformatic problems that have been very challenging using traditional computer architectures. For one of our experiments, we're going to work with the electronic medical record. We have electronic medical records on our millions of patients, millions of events of things that happen, and we know that there are secrets buried in the information that it's very challenging to extract from the data using traditional data mining techniques. One of the examples we cite is the discovery that Fen-phen actually the weight loss cocktail drug, Fen-phen, could lead to heart valve damage. The relationship was accidentally discovered by a Mayo Clinic data analyst. It took a little bit of time after that analyst noticed the relationship between people being seen for cardiac valve damage and the fact that they were taking this prescription. But once it was identified, it was pretty straightforward to confirm that there was a cause and effect relationship. And there are probably many other interesting and very, very valuable insights buried in the medical data that we cannot mine out using a usual relational database management system and data mining. Our belief is that when we bring part of the medical record to a machine like the XMT that's very good at graph analytics, that we can apply a different kind of analysis algorithm to the data and find some of those patterns that are very difficult to discover otherwise.
What kind of algorithms do you use? Do you develop the software yourself or you work with third parties?
Well, we're collaborating right now both with Cray and with Pacific Northwest National Labs to identify the algorithms and the data structures that are going to be necessary to solve some of these problems. And we expect that within about a year we will have some limited demonstrations of capability that we haven't had before.
And this means you get all the data you have from the records from your patients, and then you put them in some kind of data metrics, and then you analyze this data.
That would be ideal. There's a little more data in the medical records than we can fit into the XMT at this time, but if we can demonstrate the principle that we can query the data that we have in new ways, that opens the opportunity for more extensive collection of the data and analysis.
And previously, to use this XMT, were you using different computing systems for this kind of analysis?
Well, the data marts, the data mining, and database technologies that Mayo has been using have been state-of-the-art. New servers, DB2 and Oracle databases and the like. The ad hoc query server is a compute box that gives us some of the capability we want, where a researcher could write an arbitrary SQL query, get information from the database. That is I think it's a 48-core, 96 gigabyte of memory box. It's a pretty substantial piece of hardware, and yet queries could take minutes to even hours to complete, and that's too long and too slow to use in a clinical setting where you want to interact with a patient.
Are you also using this XMT for additional kind of research?
Yeah, there are other opportunities that we believe the XMT will be suitable for helping us solve. Another one that we're working on is looking at different ways to sequence or assemble the sequences for genomes from the sequence data and analyze the differences between individuals and a species reference. In addition to that, there are other possible applications, things like, for example, free-form text analysis is an area of active research using machines like the XMT. And we have a lot of free-form text that's recorded as part of electronic medical records. And drawing conclusions from that is quite a challenging informatics problem.
And by yourself, you are coming from the IT part, or are you coming from the clinical part of?
Well, I'm a software engineer wedged into a hardware development group. Our special purpose processor development group has been looking at how to build computational systems to solve all kinds of problems dating back to the 1970s when Barry Gilbert, my boss and our principal investigator, started working on computed tomography, computing images from scan data. And it was essential then to have special purpose hardware to do the calculations. The general purpose computers just weren't fast enough. And there's still niches where you have to have specialized electronic equipment to do either calculations or data transport or working with the data. So we've been researching that for decades now.
If I think typical hospital clinic, they are not really using Cray XMT as hardware. They have other kind of computers. I think you are a very special clinic.
Well, yeah, Mayo is a special clinic. I'll take credit for that, sure. But no, the supercomputer application in a clinical setting is unusual, but there are a number of areas, particularly with the field of genomics coming on, where many medical centers are looking at supercomputer kinds of applications to deal with the kinds of data that we have for our patients and the ability to process that and investigate it.
Do you think that on mid to long term, every larger hospital will have some Cray-like HPC system?
Well, I know some people at Cray who would get very excited by that prospect, but I can't make any promises about that. We're in the early days now of trying to see if the machine really does succeed at the problems we're going to throw against it.
Okay, then we wait for this time to come. Thank you very much, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.